All right, ladies and gentlemen, got your watch list coming into September 9th, 2019, and it's going to be somewhat of a pivotal week. The stock market is waiting for the Fed, and I say somewhat pivotal because this week is going to set us up for the week prior to the Fed, and pretty much what happens with Jerome Powell and the Fed is right around the corner. We saw Powell speak on Friday, and that was the last time he was going to speak before the Fed instituted their blackout period, so we're not going to hear anything from him or anybody else, and he did do stuff a little bit differently, but now it's setting up something unique that I'm going to talk about here briefly with the option pricing and how this is going to set us up to play. So you guys know what we're going to do. We're going to cover the keys for tomorrow. We're going to go over the plays and some of the other plays we've already made last week and how we look to hold those and pan those out. So make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure we see you there in the morning. We are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it's pinned in the comments. And the most important thing you need to do right here, right now, post your watch list below. Let us know what you're watching, what you've already played. We're going to cover these pre-market tomorrow. So tune in so you could see it as we go over there, add to it, contribute. But I'm ready. I hope you guys are too. And I hope you guys are ready to be smart. You got to be very, very strategic here. We are just under the all-time highs. Again, we broke out of that range from last time. It's an interesting spot we're here. So let us get into it. Right off the bat, we got our keys for tomorrow. I'm going to try to keep it simple here, but option pricing. This is what is going to be important coming into this week and tomorrow, because this is going to tell us a few things. And right off the bat, the easiest thing to determine, not the easiest, but the most important, I would say, is if it's going to tell us, hey, should we be selling premium here or should we take advantage of buying options? Now, we were selling into it. You see where we're at these levels. And why I say this, because again, it's this semi-pivotal week. This is like getting ready for the Fed. And what is going to happen is either the market's going to do nothing and it's going to wait and kind of go back and forth, or we're going to get surprised with random news events, or stuff we may not have seen that hasn't affected the market in months. It might come back into play because it seems like we've got some of the trade stuff pushed back. Now the Fed's going to come to light. But if the market has only really been moving off of key levels and news, if we don't get any of that, it's going to alter the prices around. And that's what we're going to be waiting here, because now the prices are either going to be, and I'm referring to options, they're going to be higher and pricing in stuff where it's saying there's a lot of anticipation, a lot of worry. That would make more sense to buy some of these spreads because the option prices are going to be expensive. On the reverse side, if we kind of hit one of these levels and start to kind of cuck back and forth in between here and the prices become cheaper again, or now the volatility drops a little bit and people are like, well, we're at these all-time highs. Now we're going to stay in this range. It's going to be a slow melt up. Or again, people are waiting for the Fed. That is going to start to let some of those frogs and ponies come to light. So we got to watch out for that. So that's the main thing I'm looking for. And it's actually funny because it reminds me of something I wanted to show you here. What I'm about to show you reminds me of this week and even trading in general. And what I mean is just there's so many things going on. And this is what I'm saying. It could start to get pivotal here. We need to watch how this narrative changes coming into this week, because there is so many pieces of info or so many things people just want to grab at now. And I think this is, we have to really keep everything simple here. That's why I want to come back all the way to the option pricing and what we've been looking at. And again, we've seen news drive the market, but you don't want to overthink things. And I encourage you, watch the balances, watch the price of the options, and don't force it. And again, even with trading strategy and anything. So here's what I'm referring to. I always like this picture. You're probably going to hear me talk about this tomorrow morning, but take a look. There's all these tools and microphones and listening. And, if you're trying to set hooks everywhere, you're trying to grab something, you're probably not going to catch anything. We know where we keep it simple. Look for the pricing, look for the risk reward, let it arrive there. And, it's just kind of not doing too much will lead us to getting the biggest piece of information out of all of this. So keep that in mind. But back to the keys. Essentially now, the potential for surprises as we get ready for the setup coming to the Fed is very, very important. And what I mean by this is that I think that the market is going to be looking and really has this hyper focus on these specific news events. And in between, I think it's going to get sprinkled with random news events and company stuff like we've even been seeing, where it's this report, this lawsuit, this buyout, this and that. Usually in these quiet periods is when you see that. So keep an ear to the streets and be on the lookout for that. But again, don't get too crazy about all this stuff. But that's what I'm going to be watching for. And now this is the whole theme of what we're doing. Like I said, we're getting ready for the Fed coming up here. And that's the next thing I want to look for, is not trying to interpret it. And again, we have the blackout, and what we saw on Friday, Powell was a lot different. He is same sort of, lack of clarity, I believe so. I think a lot of people could agree with that, and not really giving us too much information. But the key that I took out from it, they're not mentioning the trade war. At least Powell did not mention trade war uncertainty in China as much as he did, because that's kind of like the trigger to get Trump to tweet. So I think he's going to walk away from that, and we're going to see how that is. But what I want to watch moving forward now is watch the Fed futures rate predictions to see what they're pricing in. So you guys have seen me bring this up a few times, and as you see here, Fed interest rate decision, we're 1 week, 2 days, 18 hours, 2 minutes. I'm sorry, I really had to do that. But at the end of the day here, as these start to change around, I mean, it's pretty clear what the market's pricing in. This could be a surprise. We'll watch how this changes, and that's even going to lead to some of the plays and stuff we've been watching. We saw a weird bond movement. We're seeing weird dollar movements. There's Brexit lingering in the background. We can't forget about that, but that situation's there. So again, there's a lot going on, but we just got to simplify this thing and pull it back and let the prices tell us. And if you remember, last time I said this exact statement, this was a few weeks ago before stuff actually started to get crazy. Let the prices tell you. Everybody wants a crystal ball. I just want to know the price of the crystal ball. That could tell me a lot. Think about that for a second. Just really think about that. But let us get into it. Let's talk about the plays. As far as the plays that we've made on the weekend, I'm still holding that Roku credit spread at the 162, 165, 164 is the break even for this week. So we're going to see how that plays. And again, I still want to watch how Roku plays out in general. I did sell 2 SPY call credit spreads on Friday, and I rolled over my Home Depot, but I did sell a 297. Let me show you guys this one. So remember, we were down on this one, the 296, 298, and that's going to expire, I think, tomorrow on Monday. Yeah, that was a weird one, but I got and again, I could either roll that one or pretty much keep this one if you really think about it. But I would probably roll over that one too. But I did a 297, 299. We collected 117 on it, but this one's it's a little bit higher there, and I did that also on the Tastyworks account. I like that, and I'm going to wait here a little bit, too, to see as we move forward. I think maybe I did that play a little bit prematurely, but we'll see how this comes out, because I'm thinking that the prices are still expensive. That's why I want to see how they level out, to see if it's going to make sense to keep selling premium, or if it makes sense to take some of this risk and buy. So, again, I said we also rolled the Home Depot. I'm going to look at some of the other stuff, but again, that is pretty much going to be the theme. Now, this is actually one of the companies I want to talk about, NetEase. I would watch this one. If the prices are good, I don't want to sell premium on this one. I want to buy this one. This is one of those Asian stocks that runs up, and again, and you could kind of just see this movement. This one is a sleeper. It's a big dollar movement. The spreads are huge. The contracts are expensive, but this one could be a big gainer if it could shrug off some of this stuff, and you start to see some of these China stocks and Asian stocks in emerging markets, and some of these stocks that really got beaten up the hardest during all this, if they start to go up and start to bounce, again, you could watch Baba at the same respect, but watch NetEase. If this starts to go up, this could be very good. I have not identified any strike prices, because again, I want to see how we open tomorrow, because we're just coming off of one big run up, letting it cool down. Day 3, day 4, Monday and Tuesday are going to be a lot more important. So watch how this plays out here, but watch NetEase. I like that one a lot. But coming back to everything, the main theme is going to be value stocks, Home Depot, McDonald's, and all that. But now watch FedEx. I brought this up the other day. I said we kind of slept on it, but again, it's hanging out towards the bottom. So if this is kind of like the S&P, if it does start to break out and go up there, there's going to be some fat that we could take on this one. That'll be good. If it does start to give up, that could be an indicator of it going down. But usually the contracts are cheap, and being stuck in this little range is going to make those cheap. So watch out for those. Watch the Home Depots. I'm going to be looking for, again, a strong break. If it falls below 230 and the options are expensive, I might want to sell premium on those, but we did roll over to the same 227, 230. So I'm still in that play till the end of the week. We're going to see how that plays out. But in general, if these keep going up, these are going to be important. This is the next thing I want to watch out for, is watch the value stocks coming into now this setup with the Fed and everything. Because again, it's 1 week away. What I want to look out for is to see if people really start to rotate into these value stocks. Rotations don't, they do happen in short time periods, but watching it day by day leading up to it, you want to kind of see the behavior of these stocks will let you kind of know the sentiment. So I'm going to be keeping a very, very close eye on Home Depot, FedEx, Walmart, McDonald's especially too. I like this because, again, if it starts to lag behind, you guys have kind of seen, we showed this last week, Home Depot and McDonald's, they can move side by side. I wouldn't doubt it if Home Depot keeps holding up. McDonald's, I think, is lagging, and again, this is one of our favorites, so keep an eye out for that one. As far as the rest goes now, I mean, Starbucks is another one of those value stocks I want to be looking at. It's a little bit different, but again, they had that negative guidance. They bounced up a little bit. They're at an interesting spot. I want to see if they break out or not, but I like them. But one of my this one I really, really like. This is a big bounce, and it moves like a value stock, but it got beat down, and it's in that tech space. It has exposure to the trade war, all that, Intel, and it made crazy moves. Again, these were 2,000% movers last week, if not more. So it's not expected to move a lot. It made big moves. Again, we even sold that premium. Good thing we took early profits on it, but it's, Intel is moving really outside of its range of like it should be. So it's either lagging or leading very, very big, but the fact it's moving like this is opening up a big window for the option pricing. So I like that. And then lastly, Shopify. Now, we talked about Roku and we've seen it, and I've been saying it, depending on what the market does, if the market starts to pop up, and this is how I figured it out really, wait till the market goes up. If the market goes up, Shopify is going to outpace the market, or even if the market goes down, Shopify will hold up. But I'm waiting for it to have its Roku moment. And what I mean by its Roku moment is this right here, where it's already up near the all-time highs. It's going to come down a little bit, do this thing, and then all of a sudden, you're going to get a crazy move. And this isn't going to be a day trade. It's going to be a swing trade. So keep your eye out for that. But I like Shopify. I like where it's at. We've already talked about NetEase. So now moving on, watch UNH. I like where it's at here. I want to see, I don't know. I do want to say negative on it. I still am kind of negative with healthcare. I think something's brewing. So I guess I'm going to stick to that. But just watch where it's at. That could be a decent one to sell premium. Watch as it plays throughout the day. If it's one of those that randomly picks up and does big. But again, them only moving 1 or 2% isn't going to be too big of a big deal for me. So watch as it picks up in that 3, 4, 5% range, then it'll get my attention. There's that, but even along the lines now of NetEase and all those, watch BABA and where it's at. I think BABA's a little hard to play, but again, what I'm going to say is just watch some of these Asian stocks now as we see their setup coming into all this. I think that's going to be important. But now one I like, that's one of the Asian stocks. I think NetEase on the upside if it does start to bounce and it starts to lead. But now look at the reverse, Baidu. If you remember, this was the last time we hit it. Baidu moves very, very weird. It's no coincidence it's staying like this day after day after day. I think it's going to be a put. I'm going to be looking out for those. I want to see what we could do. You guys remember we hit that one pretty nutty on the head. I like it. I like where it's at. The fact that and then that's where Baba and NetEase and all these JD, they're going to give us an idea of what's going on. But if Baidu still stays down there, I think it's saying put. So watch out for those. And then lastly, the ETFs. Watch TLT again. It's finally a really big drop that killed premiums. It bounced up. I want to see how it holds up, but this is kind of normal leading into some of these Fed meetings, as we've seen before. A few days prior, it sold off, and I think this was actually the same distance or about a few weeks ahead of it, but even every week before, this is normal. I want to see what range it sets up. So it looks like it's going to hold this 143, 148 range coming into the Fed meeting. But watch TLT again, the setup for the play. I'm going to start looking at the chain now. But again, we have 1 week. Isn't it funny? Since that first play happened, those other plays are still up. But now we got to find the other plays here to see if this is something we're going to play. And I said, I'll let you know. So stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. We're live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. Cool, Chad. But watch out for that. But one that I think could be good is SLV. You see it had that huge run up. Those were some big gains, but big volume on the downside now. Watch how these play out. Give it that third day to see where it holds up. But these drops after a run-up are good. This is the entry now. This is going to allow us to play all of this hype at a substantially cheaper price. So we have to make sure the options became cheaper. And if they did, I'm going to like this. I'm going to be looking at silver, GLD, interest rates, bonds, all that. So keep your eyes out for those. And then lastly, like we said, Roku, I think that's going to be one to watch. I'm more on the short side. I don't know if it's going to keep coming up there, but I sold the credit spreads because I'm sure the premiums are going to be nutty. And then lastly, Beyond. I think this is going to be the week, my friends. The time has come. I feel like it did that 4% the other day. It gave me another 4% in 2 days. It's game time, I think. I want to look out for it. I think on the put side is where it's coming down to, but we want to see how it reacts. Again, how Shopify, Roku, and Beyond, even all these IPOs, they react somewhat similarly, and then there is the individuality of the company that's determining some of these moves. But watch it. I am kind of leaning more to the put side, and I want to see if the moves start to break out. We go till next week and take advantage of these prices. And that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you post your watch list. You like the video. Make sure you're ready to go. Keep your head in the game. I don't care if you lost money, you made money. It's all about what we do from here, and understand what's going to happen in these next few weeks is going to be pivotal. We are going to get something. You just need to stay in the game and be smart. Do not rush yourself. Do not push yourself, and do not force the play. But make sure you're ready to play. So let's go!